Are we going to record it locally? Worst comes to worst, if you just record it locally, then we can play it back later.
Yeah.
So I will try, I was going to do that like right away after we had that presentation, because I thought it was
I
really
did it the same night, but
fascinating.
it was very easy to do, but I've been having trouble dealing with it. I was wondering if, because you're going to go on.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that Google My, you had Google My Business, right? You used that?
Yeah, I didn't do that one. That was Scott Ganello.
No, I've been having a lot of trouble with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Scott is brilliant at that stuff.
I should get his number. I don't think I do.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Okay.
So that's recording.
Okay. So we just stream on this then?
Yeah. Or you just hit record.
Where are we at? So let's get this off here. Let me go to Facebook.
We're live.
We're live? Okay.
That was weird.
All right. So record here.
I'm showing the countdown video. That gave me a heart attack.
Do you want to check to see if it's we got audio, or if that might be the old one?
No, this is it. Yeah.
So it's
like
a
10 seconds behind.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Hey, we're going to start in just a couple minutes here, streaming live. If you're on Facebook, thank you for joining us.
So did we clarify, maybe if you clarify, we ask, there was a question about yours, right?
So I did ask her.
Yep, I think we're on here. We're good to go. Nice. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be starting in about a minute and a half. Have you seen the videos I have on the Ascend website of the training? Okay, good. Some of this I go into more detail on those videos, so if you've seen some of those, that's good. All right, we're going to start in 1 minute. All right, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Brilliant Futures Institute. My name is Matthew J. Peters. I'm the president of the Brilliant Futures Institute. We're at Connect Bradenton in downtown Bradenton, Florida. And today and every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, we have a training specifically designed for people who are entrepreneurs, people who have a nonprofit. We're here to help you out, help you get started, help you with your marketing. And we bring in experts on different topics every week. So this is a place you can come in and watch us live here. Today we have a show producer, David Short. He's helping out and doing an amazing job with streaming this and a new system we're using. So thank you so much for joining us. Today we're talking about the 10X product ladder. Now what I want you to get out of today really is to help you understand that you can serve more people if you don't stay stuck into one level of pricing, meaning thinking that you only can serve people at a really high level in the thousands of dollars, or only serve people in $100, $97, something like that. Even if you have a book, $10, something like that. What else can you do? What other levels can you serve people to bring about the result that you help people with? So today specifically is increase your sales, your customer and client base, and drastically improve your closing rate. Your closing rate will naturally improve because you'll have more things to offer people. So today we're going to cover how to increase your perceived value, protecting your value while offering inexpensive products and services. That's a big one because a lot of times when we kind of like have a lower product or service, we don't give the same quality of result. And how to have a perfect product or service for everyone who's interested in working with you. And then create that ladder of products. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to increase your perceived value. And the best way to always increase your perceived value is to always and only offer your best. So it doesn't really matter if what you're offering is free or if it's $5 or $10, it's always your best. And you are always over-delivering. So people are buying your results that you communicate. You have to be focused on what is this result that I'm providing people in the marketplace, not specific to how you're serving people, not that I'm a coach or I'm a speaker or I have this 8-week online course. That's not what you want to communicate. What you want to communicate is the result. And I had actually said this last week. If you missed last week's training, it's a great training. It was on your first online training or online course. And I said people are buying your confidence in your competence and helping them get the result they desire. So it's important that you have confidence in what it is you're selling, because if you don't, people aren't going to see that you have that value in their lives to help them through that pain point, help them through that struggle that they have. So what is the big result that you help bring? If you think about what it is that you're offering out there, and feel free to type in on the live stream here on Facebook, what is it that you help people with? If I were to ask you, I help blank do blank, or I help blank get blank. So I help entrepreneurs get more clarity on their expertise in their marketing so people see them at their highest value. That is a very simple statement, but that's the result you bring. Now, how do you want to serve people? Do you want to do that in a book, in a video series, in an 8-week training? Do you want to do that in one-to-one coaching or in a small group? You have the ability to use different modes or different ways to serve people to get that result. So what we're talking about today is how do you want to package that, and how much of you are they going to get? Are they going to have a more intimate setting where it's you in a 3 to 5 or 6 people in a small group for a couple of days and have a workshop like that? Or is it going to be a book that you're offering? Or is it going to be an 8-week training they do on their own? Really, what is it? So we're going to give you some ideas here, and remember to always make this your own. And when I talk about numbers, when I talk about how much we talk, the pricing structure in a 10X products is you have to take this to your own economy. So if you're watching this in South Africa, as one of my students was in South Africa, or you're in Brisbane, or if you are in Canada or whatever, in Mexico, you need to set this up so it makes sense for your local market if you're selling locally. And what do you help the client avoid? That's really the bigger value, is them avoiding this pain or getting out of this pain or having resolution to a frustration they've had for so long. What is the value in that? Because if you're selling this thing, this book, this online course, there's a limited value that people see in that, but the real value is it going to help them have resolution to their pain or their frustration? And if it does, there's a value to that, and there's different ways we can serve people. So you want to become known for the results that you bring. You want your name synonymous with the results. So when people think of you, they know what it is that you do and do so well. Now the second thing is protecting your value while offering inexpensive products and services. A lot of times what happens is people will have a $97 program and they over-deliver, I'm sorry, they don't over-deliver on the result. What they over-deliver on is the amount of content, and that really isn't going to save people, that isn't really help people by giving them more and more content. It just bogs them down. A lot of times people don't even finish their program because it's just too much to go through. They don't have any feedback, they don't have any accountability, so there is a limit to what you can do to help someone if they're going at this all on their own. So how do you protect your value is you make sure whatever you're offering them is going to get them a result that's going to lead them in the direction of getting the big result that you market, that you've been communicating. So always over-deliver on results. So if someone gets something from me or from you for free, they should get a result from it, a positive result leading them towards the big result that they said that they wanted through your communication. And you don't overdo it on volume. One of my first coaches, I had a $97 video training that had about 90-some videos in it, taught people how to set up their camera, how to create a set with background, 3-point lighting, 2-point lighting, how to upload your videos to YouTube, how to optimize them on YouTube, how to use screen capture software. It was crazy. 90-some videos. It was general information, and with YouTube, with Google today, it's so easy to just get general information for free, so there's a really low value to that. What he said to me is, I would stop selling it altogether and charge double, or he said $500 for 3 videos. 3 videos that were short to the point and helped people get the result. People don't need volume anymore, they don't have the time for it. And then the other thing too is you want to make sure you're not selling your personal time. When you start saying, well, I charge $100 an hour or $150 an hour, that is a limited resource, and you really can only serve that one person at that time. But when you have duplicated yourself through serving in a group live, or you have duplicated yourself by recording your training, your knowledge, and getting it out into programs or into a book or video series, whatever you want to use, that is where you can multiply your effect in the world. And so how do you have a perfect product or service for everyone who is interested in working with you? If someone is serious about working with you, but they just don't have the funds, then you need to have some way for them to continue the conversation with you. Otherwise, they have to look somewhere else. I'm going to get into that in a moment. As someone who is representing your company or your organization, you are a salesperson, you are a matchmaker. And this is what I like to say to people is you want to supply the perfect product for the perfect prospect at the perfect time and the perfect price. So if you take any one of those 4 out of the equation, what happens is you have the wrong product for the right person, the right time, the right price, or you have the right product for the wrong person, and things just get messed up, and the value isn't there, and that's where you lose value. So you want to be a matchmaker and making sure that anything you offer is your best at that level. So here's a problem with only offering high services. I have friends that are really excited about saying that their services are $5,000 and $25,000, and that's all they offer. And if you can't afford it, you just can't afford to work with them. And what happens here is it's out of reach for many people who are struggling with their finances. They're coming to you for whatever it is that you do, but now there's this distance or this gap. They can't work with you because of your fees. That's why you want to have a ladder where you can help them where they're at. I want to share a quick story with you about a child care center. My parents have had a child care center since 1972, and they have chosen to not serve families that have children that are 2 and under, but their competitors do. And what people end up doing is they go with the devil they know. And so they enroll their child into another child care center at 1.5 infant, and they just stay with them. My parents lost the opportunity to serve that family because they make people wait until their child is 2 years old. Does that make sense? So they just lost out on it. And it's the same thing as if people really want to work with you, and you've been marketing, you've been creating videos, you've been creating podcasts, you've written books, people finally get the guts to reach out to you knowing that you're expensive and you don't have anything for them. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to reach out to maybe one of your students who've taken your class and now they're teaching your stuff. They're going to reach out to someone who doesn't have the same quality or desire to help them, and they have an automated way that's really not going to serve them. It's your responsibility, I see, is if you're attracting these people, is to really help them where they're at, however you can. And the problem with having only low-end services, so I have a friend who is great in video, and he does amazing video products, and he had one on video optimization, how to build out your YouTube channel, really high-tech stuff. And I said, this is great, but I don't have the time to go through your program. Can I hire you? And if they don't have a way for me to hire them, really, I'm just going to look for someone else who knows that strategy too. So I can hire them because I just don't have the time to go through that program. And the other thing is, when you're only serving low-ticket programs, you're only offering the low-end stuff, you have to sell so many of them, you have to sell so much volume to make a living at it. You are helping people that can't afford these higher services, but if you're running ads to it, and your ads will cost you so much per click, and then you have a conversion rate. So let's say you're selling a book that's $10 and it costs you $5 to get that person to buy the book. You can't live on the difference, especially when they buy it from Amazon and you're getting this much of it. So that's why I recommend you want to serve people who don't have the funds yet to work with you, so they grow with you over time. And then you also have the ability to serve people who don't have the time, but they do have the funds. And we're always selling to serve. This is not about make money fast or make money taking advantage of people. We all are here to serve people. That's why we're doing this. So when we're selling to serve, we want to make sure as a matchmaker we are acting in their best interest from our perspective. They don't have our perspective. They're coming to us as the expert. They're saying, help me, where do I need to go next? And you're not trying to hit sales goals. You're not trying to get a toy with whatever you're going to buy with whatever funds that you get from the sale. You always have to be working for them in their best interest, and that goes even from right when they start talking with you. And there are times when I'm listening to someone, I say, you know what? Go talk to so-and-so. He knows exactly what you need. He's got dozens of YouTube videos, and he's got a program for $47. That's exactly what you need. I don't have what you need right now. They'll appreciate it. And guess what? They'll probably grow with that person. That's fine, but that was what they needed at that time. I didn't need to sell them something that wasn't a fit. You always want to make sure that it's a match. So if you were to think about this, you meet with people, you have, out of 10 people, how many people choose to work with you? Some people call that closing, and I think the closing, your closing ratio, the percent that you close, I think that comes from real estate. It's a real estate term, but I don't like the word closing. So how many people choose to work with you out of 10? And if you're working with people, you're meeting with people, and 1 or 2 or 5 choose to work with you that we're really interested in, and it is a fit, and it was a price thing, or you just didn't have the right product, this is a way to create a series of products that will serve more people. So the question I have for you, if I were to define a high-ticket program or service as $1,500, would you have something to sell me that was $1,500 or more?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, great, great. So if you don't think of something, what is, the only thing I sell right now is $10. The only thing I sell right now is $20. What could I do that would be $1,500? Now, we talked before, you have expertise in what you do. You've done it so many times. Maybe it's not the end product, a book. Maybe it is helping, coaching someone through that process that you've done so many times. helping them through it is saving them so much time. They may have the money, they just don't have the time. So if you don't have something over $1,500, what could you do? And sometimes people think it's one product. It could also be serving many people at once, and I'll go over that when we talk about the ladder. So create a ladder of products or services from zero to thousands of dollars, and we're going to go over this right now. Now, this is specifically designed for coaches and trainers and mentors and things, but I'm also going to show you how this works. Even if you're selling acai bowls, how can you do something like this? So product ladder, a very simple one, is free, a tripwire, downsell, primary product or service, and premium. All right, and I'm going to go through each one of these here. So free, a lot of us have gone on the internet and we enter our name or email address and we get something in return for free. That could be a video series, live webinar, live stream, access to some kind of exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else if you didn't supply your name, email address, phone number, whatever information you're exchanging for. That's a currency. So that's considered free because there's no money currency being exchanged. And we went over this in the last training here. Tripwire is, okay, someone said that they're interested in getting this result and you give them something for free. What is the next step up from that? So this could be they get an automatic ebook, they get shipped a book, so they just pay for shipping, free book plus shipping, a video training, access of some type, or an add-on discount. And so I like to see these between $1, $7. You know, $197 is a really fast upsell from something free that they're interested in and going to $197. That's kind of a stretch, but I have seen it. But $1 to $47 is a pretty easy range. I'm going to talk about the downsell a little bit more, but the downsell is important because a lot of times if we have our primary product that when we tell people we help them get this result, that's really our sweet spot. We've leveraged our time and we've leveraged the results. But the downsell, I make diagnostic because a lot of times you have a call with somebody and that call might be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or you have a meeting with somebody, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you really don't know the full situation that they're in. And it takes some more diagnosis to know where they're starting from. What is their struggle really? What are their resources? You know, do they already have a following on YouTube and Facebook or something? Or are they just starting out? Have they already written the outline for a book and they don't know what to do next? You need to really get down and to find out specifics. And when they can't afford the next level of your stuff, your primary stuff, you get them started. And one of the things with a diagnostic that you're selling them is it gets them to reality. Because they're coming to you, they don't have your perspective. They're new to this. Or they've been struggling with the same thing for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. Same trauma for that much time, they still don't know that they're stuck in it, or they may not know what's triggering them. And you can help them without having to discount your time because you want to help somebody out. You can really help them by getting them to step up and answer the questions in a diagnosis, doing some exercises, watching a couple of videos. An automated program, you can do an automated program, but like I said, with an automated program, a lot of times there's no feedback, there's no follow-through, there's no interaction, there's no accountability, so people turn that self-help into shelf-help. We've all bought programs for $47, $97. That was a great deal, and then it's on our hard drive somewhere. Or we have the password to it, we'll get to it when we have time. So I say like a self-diagnosing questionnaire, and reality is the result. That's the first big step. So many times people will have a transformation from working with you just through mindset. Once they understand what the real situation is, that's when a big leap happens. So if you do have an automated online program, know that they're accessing content you provide online and there's no interaction. You need to protect your time. But the downside of this is that there's a low completion rate, and when that happens, you don't really have good testimonials. They're not really going to get that result. So if you can figure out a way to do some type of hybrid and have access to content online, and then also maybe do a follow-through phone call after you've given them some some time to go through it. I have the full diagnostic training on my website, ascend.net/free-training. I have 6 trainings on there. There's nothing to sell. It's just check it out, and you'll get a full diagnostic training on that. And then this is the book, Full Product Ladder Training. I have in the book. It's $10 on Amazon. Now, what are these 2 products? What am I doing right now? What level is this that I'm doing right now? On the product ladder, what am I doing standing here on a live stream?
It's number 1.
Yeah, it's free, right? So I'm giving value in advance for free. Now this book here, I'm just showing you this is a tripwire. It's getting people who say they're interested to actually take their wallet out and say, I'm interested enough to pay $1 or $10 or $47, whatever. Now they're kind of raising their hand saying, I'm a customer. I'm someone who's serious. Not that I'm actually needing to sell this book here, but I'm just showing you this is a way to go from interest to then a purchase. Now this is why I say primary product or service, because this is where they get some of your time. You as the expert are going to be able to give them feedback and hold them accountable to things. And I like to do this either through a 3 or 4 day event, where it's like a workshop where they're there with me, or over the course of 6, 8, 10, and some people even 12 weeks. And through that time, you're able to check in with them every week. And this is what we covered in the online course creation training last week, so I'm not going to rehash that. But anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, you can do $1,000 to $2,000, wherever you feel comfortable, but a comfortable stretch. Now, your primary product or service needs to leverage your time and results, and a lot of times people try to automate things way too much. And when they automate things too much, it's high tech but not high touch. And the results go down. People get lower results. You always want to make sure that you have your results are optimized and your time involvement is optimized as well. So you can see here the arrows, the low time involvement and the high desired results. If either of those cross and you have low results or you're putting a lot of time in, keep restructuring, figuring out how can I do this better. It's not that you failed, it's how can I do this better? How can I streamline this, or how can I serve people even more? How can I give them added value without added cost to me of time or resources, other resources? So I like to do primary being a short-term mentoring, which I said anywhere from 6 weeks to some people do 12 weeks. I don't do any more than 10. Speaking engagement. Some people, it's like, this is what I do. I do speaking engagements, and I also help people in other ways. Service provider. So you're serving people. You're serving a group, a corporate account. And so when people ask, what is it that you do? And you give them, I help people resolve their trauma. Trauma recovery, all right? Your primary thing is, well, I have this group. You listen to them, you're talking to them, and they say, well, how do you help? Well, I help people through this group, and oh, this sounds great. It's $2,000. Oh, I'd love to do that, but I can't afford that right now. Now you have a place to go. Now you have a downsell that keeps them, they're serious, right? It's 10% of what you just said. So if it's a $2,000 course, it's now $200. And the other thing I like to do is bring that back around and give them that $200 towards the next time they want to up level to your primary offer. But the primary thing, that's what you offer first. And then you can go down from there, which on here is actually opposite. You're going to the downsell, tripwire, free. If people say, I just don't have any money, well, as you get better at doing calls and meetings, you can hear that before you even have the meeting. But always be directing people to the source online, your website, where you have everything laid out. Your free things are very obvious to people. Tripwire, if they want to buy your book, they want to check you out further. And your premium. Now, your premium takes more of your time. This is where you're serving, you're doing a done-for-you service, 12-month contract, business to business. So let's take the acai bowl company that comes out here once a week. Now, I also know that they'll come out to a apartment complex or they'll come out to a business and they'll serve everybody in that business for $500 or for $1,000. And that is, it's like a guaranteed, when I show up there, you're guaranteeing this much and you get this much product from us. And after that, people can just buy regular price. The more, if their primary focus was, I'm just getting accounts, and they may like fill in with, oh, I'm just going to be over here at Connect, and we're going to do this here, and we're going to do this festival over here. But the more accounts they get, and they fill their calendar up with, we know we're going to get $500 when we do this, $800 if we do this one. Now that's more guaranteed income. They're able to go somewhere and have a guaranteed income plus. Does that make sense? So they do their social media, they get even more people there. And it's a business-to-business thing. So if you're $20,000 to $100,000, that's a big chunk of change for a lot of people. So that's where you really need to know if someone says yes to this, that they have the ability to follow through on it, and it's not going to stress them out. It's not going to stress out their bank account or their family or whatever, because some people they just really want to work with you so bad. They want to be in that inner circle, and they're going to stretch themselves to past where they should. And remember, you're selling your result, not your time. So many people say, I can't sell something for $20,000 or $25,000 because I feel like I'm an indentured servant to them, or it's going to be a full-time job. Remember, you're focusing on the result. So if you have a couple of people working with you, if you have a team, you have systems in place, they don't want to spend any more time on this either. They're hiring you to do this stuff for them or save them time and save them money. So this is a real big question here. I'm going to let this roll out. How much do you think you're worth? This isn't for you to answer here, but as you go down through there's going to be a point where you're like, I don't know about that. I know where mine is. And so when you look at this, if I were to say, how much do you think you value your work for a product to help someone get that result? Think about the most pain someone could be in. What is that value to their family, to their professional career, to their business growth? How much do you value your work at? Now, if I were to say per year, how much do you value your time for a year if you were to serve multiple people? And what if I said, how much do you value your work over a lifetime? And those are just arbitrary times. It's really the value you're bringing to the marketplace. And how can you leverage your time? How can you communicate your highest value? So when you say, well, over my lifetime, yeah, I could $10 million. $10 million, yeah, over my lifetime. If that's where you're at, great. So is a lifetime over your entire life or the next 10 years or the next 20 years? Can you compress that and still feel you're worth that much? So the biggest hurdle I see people have is they feel that when they're charging more, they're taking advantage of people. And that's where I started out, and I realized that, first of all, I was selling programs that people were buying, but no one was going through, they weren't completing. And so for me, I was like, why did I even do this? Why did I even create this product? No one's finishing it. No one's getting the result because there's no accountability, there's no feedback for me, so I started serving more people. And you can only serve so many people one-to-one, but when you have a group, you have a dynamics of a group, so they're learning from each other. They have this group accountability. They want to look good for everybody, show that they're moving forward. It just works so much better. And I found that anything that I charged under $1,500, people just weren't serious about. Didn't matter where they were from. It was just a weird thing. I thought, $1,000, that's a lot of money. But there's just this threshold, and you'll find it for whatever you're offering. There's a threshold where people just, they don't play all in. Or they wait till towards the end of the program and they ask for their money back because they didn't show up. That's not on you, that's on them. So think about this. How much do you value your work for getting a result for one person for a year and for a lifetime? And then we have a product ladder. So this is my product ladder. I have a video series, podcast, a video series. I think there's 12 videos up on my website. Podcasts, I have 110 episodes now. And then I have the top 5 guide. You saw the book. There was 47 ways to get your next premium client. And this is the top 5 for free. I literally went through and said, what are the best 5? And I put that out there so people literally can take that guide and start getting clients with it. Tripwire is my book, $9.97. Downsell, $197, which is a diagnostic. And then we have the primary, which is a 10-week program. And Done With You video production, and premium, which is full-out year of video production and marketing. So give people results in advance. Everything you do is a result in advance. Me standing here is hopefully a result in advance from you. You're going to get one thing here, and it's going to help you in your business. You're going to apply something. The knowledge itself is not going to do anything for you. It's when you apply it and you get feedback from what you applied, you get some results of your own, you tweak it, make it better. And you can leave comments down below this video, and you can ask questions, and I'm happy to help you out. So in closing, I wanted to say a few things to remember. Protect your time. When you start selling things that you feel that you're uncomfortable with right now because it's a higher price point than you ever have sold before, there's a tendency for us to start giving more and more of our time. And that's not the case. There's a story of two guys that went to high school together, and they met back up when they were older. One of them was a dentist, and the other one had his toothache, so he goes to his friend, the dentist, and he says, I've got this toothache, and he says, oh yeah, you need to get it pulled out. He said, well, how much will that cost? He says, $300. He said, $300? This other guy works at the mill and working in small towns. That's a lot of money. He said, how long is it going to take? He said, 10 seconds. He said, 10 seconds for $300? He says, well, I can take as much time as you'd like. And really, it's the result. He needed to get the tooth out. It didn't really matter the magic that this dentist had in removing the tooth. There's a value to having that pain in that tooth removed. And it's the same thing with the people that are hiring you. They're not paying for more and more and more time with you. Unless they're like a perpetual student, they just want to go through courses and never really do anything with their life. And I know that's not you. So protect your time. The other thing is protect your product or service value. Don't discount. So if you have a $2,000 program, say, you know what, I'm going to give it to you for $1,000. Don't tell anybody. When you do that, you just told them my prices don't really mean anything. I just say that it's $2,000. There really isn't a $2,000 value. So protect your product or service value by offering them the lower thing. It's 10 times less, or 10% the cost. From there, if they want to move up with you, then they can apply that fee to your next thing, your primary product. And you will be remembered. People will communicate, and you'll be rated by the results that you bring, not by how friendly you were, not by how well your course was structured, not anything else other than the results you bring. So I keep on thinking, like, this is for coaching and mentors and trainers. It's like, well, how does this apply to Bold Life, Acai Bowl? What are they selling? They're selling a luxury, really. You don't need to have that. That's really a treat. They're selling a luxury. They're selling an experience. They're selling health. They're not selling acai. That's the package. That's how they're packaging it. So people are going to remember them and rate them for their experience, the enjoyment they had. Right? So that's really what we're selling is the results. So and then the tips I have here is get good at describing your results to people after hearing what they need. Listen, listen, listen. Listen to what it is that they need and where they're at. And then you, as the expert, with the proficiency and the perspective they don't have, you prescribe them something after you diagnosed. And if you didn't diagnose them and you prescribe something, that's malpractice. So we don't want to have malpractice. And be selective on who you serve. If you have a group of people, it's only going to be as great of a group as the lowest quality experience of the individual there that may be dragging down the group, maybe saying this is impossible, can't be done, I'm having a hard time, and they're complaining, they're blaming. You don't need that in the group. That's going to bring down the value and the quality for everything that happens in that group. And then create systems for everything you do more than once, and hire good people to work those systems. So after you've done something, you've proved your concept to be right, and you're getting results you're getting results consistently for people, that you have a system. What you're teaching, what you're doing there, you're repeating it, it works. Now, how can you take some of those things, if they're technical, if they're your social media, if they're those repetitive things that you can have someone else do, let them do their magic in your business. Let them do their magic in your organization. A lot of times people feel like they have to go through as an entrepreneur as the Lone Ranger and do it all alone, to prove to everybody they can do it alone. And that's not the way to have success. It's going to eat up a lot of your time, and you're doing a bunch of things that you're not great at, that aren't really in your wheelhouse. So at this time, if there's any questions about anything I covered today or last week, I'd be happy to take them. And I'm also going to check online afterwards. So if you have any questions online, go ahead and put them in now, and I'll check through them.
Yeah, a few years back I was mentoring people, particular students for accent reduction. I get Koreans or
Okay.
French, Europeans, whatever, and help them speak better English. And what I found out, though, was that after a while, if they didn't have a good year, they had trouble speaking better. And their before tapes and their after tapes, there wasn't much difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out that I could teach the 5 or 6 different major principles of speaking English that we use speaking American English in my case, but just speaking English generally,
Mm-hmm.
and package those and sell those, because, and then they would have, then they could buy that and they could figure out whether they could do it, whether they could speak better after or not. In other words, I couldn't guarantee the result of their speaking more clear English at the beginning, I mean at the end, rather than what they had at the beginning.
So you were packaging your training, and they were purchasing a training package that was static.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm. So, and may I ask what you charge for something like that?
Yeah, I charged only 250
Okay.
euros at the time.
So 250 euros. So if you were to now coach one or a group of people, and let's say it was for business, and they were doing commerce with these different countries, yeah, and they want to improve their accent, what would that be? What would a value like that be? Would it, if you were going to be there and help them, you have those, it's the same tools. You're not inventing new tools. It's the same training, but you're there,
Right,
going back and forth.
You're talking about results, and the results really depend on how good their ear is. You know what I mean?
So that comes, my brother...
I can't guarantee how well they're going to speak. Some people learn that, they would get those principles, and they'd speak really well. Others wouldn't have the ear, and they wouldn't be able to figure it out. They wouldn't be able to self-regulate, really.
So that might be in your FAQs,
Yeah.
saying, you know, I can guarantee results. This is the only wild card, or you would call it wild card. So my brother went to the New School for Acting in New York, and there's a lot of famous actors that have gone through there, and some people attribute that to the school. Wow, it's amazing training, amazing professors, and amazing experience. And then David Mamet says, well, it's because...
David Mamet.
Yeah, David Mamet says, well, it's because they know who's coming in, and they only let the best in. They were already good. They just made them that much better and just tweaked it. So if you are coaching somebody, when you're listening, there's some things you can do on that call to test to see, is this someone that I think can get the result or not? And then you, with your proficiency and your perspective, can say, I think I can help you. Or I say, I recommend you do this first. And maybe you have a product for that to work on their ear.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, I mean, there are machines that help you with this. There's a lot of research done. I've done some of it in the past. There are, but again, I worked, I'm giving you an example of a Korean guy I worked with for 6 months.
Yep.
4 hours a week at his place in Deloitte and Touche in LA. And after 6 months, he was only a little bit better than he was at the beginning. He wasn't happy. He didn't get the results he wanted.
Okay.
He didn't speak much more clearly than he did before he met me.
So
I failed in that respect.
okay, but in the future, what you can do is you can have a a process where you can screen people a little better. And it's just for their protection, making sure that they will be the type of person that can complete the course and get the result they want.
Right.
And so that's what I do when I'm talking with someone on the phone. And sometimes within 5 minutes, they'll say, you know what, I don't have anything for you. And then I'll send them to a friend or someone I trust, say, go talk to this person first, come back to me if you still have something that you want to work on. So, did you have something, a question?
Again, that's from your business viewpoint. But from an academic viewpoint, they will say, oh, well, you can't do it, we have to do more research, and you get into that thing.
So maybe you change your guarantee.
So, yeah,
Change your guarantee to something else that you know that'll work. So let's see here. Thank you everyone for being online here. I appreciate you, all your comments and being on. Any questions before I wrap up? So if you're watching the recording of this, if you're watching the rebroadcast, go ahead and put your questions down below. Thank you so much for being a part of this today, and I look forward to seeing you next week, the Brilliant Futures Institute, right here at Connect Bradenton in downtown Bradenton, Florida.